heed the warnings to evacuate. Do not risk your life. We have learned important lessons from previous fires, including the station fire in the San Gabriel Valley Mountain foothills, where we saw the devastation the mud had on homes in the La Cañada area. The foothill communities will be at an increased risk this week from atmospheric rivers, so please don't let your guard down. And I cannot emphasize that enough. The last rains that we saw were mild, but as Director Pestrella will tell you, our debris basin did fill up. You can go to ready.lacounty.gov for more real-time information, and I want to thank the residents for taking this seriously. Now I'd like to introduce Supervisor Lindsey Horvath.
Good morning. We're now experiencing our third storm with the most intense projected rains this week, and so we are asking everyone to stay on alert. National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch through Thursday afternoon into the evening. Public Works has prepared our flood control channels and basins throughout the Los Angeles County region. There are concerns about our canyon roads in particular, as well as our PCH and vulnerable hillsides. There has been unprecedented support from Cal OES, our partners in the state, to address what we are concerned about with these rains and to make sure that we are deploying all necessary interventions to try and protect us from the impacts. This week shows the best of Los Angeles, simultaneously managing storm preparedness and launching phase 2 of our debris removal process. We know in particular that the PCH closure is hard. Residents may need to shelter in place. This is needed to ensure people's safety and protect life through this closure. We know that the communities of Malibu, Big Rock in particular, Sunset Mesa, and Topanga are all impacted by this potential closure. We want to open it up, but we only want to do so when it's safe. So while this wet weather exists, we need to keep it closed. We know that this is an incredible challenge, especially for our young people who just want to get to school, but we will work to keep you safe and open the PCH when we can. We know that this can also contribute to emergency fatigue. Staying on high alert for this extended period of time is challenging. Stay with us, stay informed. We're here to protect you and work with you to keep you, your family, and your community safe. If you have storm-related issues, 24 hours a day, you can call our Public Works Dispatch Center at 800-675-HELP. We also launched in the Palisades yesterday phase 2 of our debris removal process, and we were greeted by community members who are grateful for this whole of government approach that we have going, and I thank all of our partners at every level for helping us get to this stage so quickly in terms of our recovery process. Nearly 99% of all of the right of entry forms submitted have opted in for the Army Corps option. That allows us to move more quickly, in a more coordinated fashion. And so I thank everyone not only for turning in their ROEs, but for opting in so that way we can move quickly through your communities. The limited opt-outs that have come in for those who have chosen to work with private contractors, the county stands ready to support you as well and to issue permits for private contractors beginning Thursday. We need to finalize MOUs with the respective cities that we will be serving in order to provide that permit. It is the county's goal that this is a one permit process, so we are working with your respective cities to be able to do so. Either way, we'll be ready to go with the unincorporated areas and continue to proceed to make sure that people get the support that they need if they are choosing to work with private contractors on phase 2. And again, if you haven't filled out your right of entry form, please do so. It allows us to move in a coordinated fashion and plan for where the Army Corps can be deployed next. We're doing this without compromising safety. I know people have been focused on speed, and it is essential because this loose, especially phase 1 hazardous debris material, just having it out and uncontrolled is not safe for anyone. We want to get this debris out of our communities quickly, but we also want to do so with your health and safety in mind. With that, there was a public health advisory issued for residents who are returning to homes. Residents may be exposed to hazardous ash, soot, and debris before phase 1 and phase 2 removals. So there are potential and immediate long-term health risks. Please be careful when you are going back to these areas. Make sure you are wearing appropriate PPE, or if you can, avoid these areas while this debris removal process is happening. Fire debris can contain asbestos, lead, hazardous chemicals, and fine particulate matter. Please exercise caution. Yesterday, our board took additional action to affirm our decision, increasing the penalties for price gouging up to $50,000 and enhancing our enforcement. We don't want anyone being preyed upon during this very difficult time. This is effective countywide. We know that no one should have to worry about people taking advantage of them in this very difficult time. And we will continue to be your partners every step of the recovery process to protect you, your families, and your community. We want to make sure that you are supported and cared for. You can continue to stay informed at recovery.lacounty.gov, and we will keep you updated through this week's rain. Next, I'd like to welcome our Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Robert Luna.
Good morning. My comments are going to be focused on the next several days and our preparation as a partner with other county departments and other city departments. So we've been collaborating and planning with our county partners for this upcoming storm. We have additional personnel ready to assist in the affected burn areas and at our Emergency Operations Center. Our search and rescue teams, volunteers on patrol, and incident management teams have all placed on standby, along with our Air Rescue 5 helicopter crew. Deputies are prepared to assist our community members with humanitarian needs such as food, water, and essentials. They are helping residents prepare with sandbags and passing out mud and debris safety tips. Our homeless outreach teams, better known as HOST, are actively notifying individuals living in flood-prone areas like the LA River, Coyote Creek, and other key waterways, urging them to relocate. Unfortunately, we've witnessed numerous instances in the past of swift water rescues where people were caught in dangerous, fast-moving water, and obviously we want to prevent that. When the Department of Public Works notifies us about forecasted storms and potential mud flow activity in the burn map areas, this predictive information helps us prepare for possible challenges in the impact zones. Given the information that Public Works has provided us, we expect we'll be conducting evacuations in certain high-risk areas that have been identified. And just for some clarification, the last couple of days, specifically in our Altadena area and our Malibu Lost Hills areas, we have already been notifying what we believe through Public Works information are the impact residences that could experience the specific mud flows or debris flows. And the Public Works Director will come up and be more specific about that. And then the streets where the flows may be impacting not only residents, but the ability for first responders to come in and rescue people, which I hope doesn't have to happen, but we always prepare for the worst. So those notifications have been in place now for about the last 24 hours. There will be evacuation warnings that will be going out sometime later this morning to those same impacted areas, to be followed by evacuation orders as the forecast, we get more specific confidence in the forecasted rain that's coming. And again, for more information on that, my partner at Public Works will specifically talk about that. But as you can hear from what I'm talking about, there's been a lot of coordination, all with community safety as a priority. Yes, we do talk about the inconvenience, but right now we don't want anybody being hurt. That becomes very, very important. Please, if evacuation orders are made, you already heard supervisors talk about it. Keep your safety in mind. They help to protect you and your loved ones from potential danger. Storms can bring sudden and severe conditions that make staying back home extremely risky. Do not take that chance. To ensure your safety, please take necessary steps now to prepare. Pack an emergency kit, secure important documents, and ensure that you have a place in plan for your pets and family members. And remember, if you're ordered to leave, you may be gone for several days. I cannot stand up here and tell you you'll be gone for 12 hours, 24 hours. We don't know. It depends on the weather and the post-weather events that will impact your specific neighborhood. Please follow your local news for updates and stay informed on evacuation routes. Your cooperation can help first responders focus on critical efforts, and together we can minimize the impact that this dangerous storm coming in has. I can't stress enough, please pay attention to evacuation orders. Do not wait. When you're given an evacuation order, heed the order and leave as soon as you can. Nothing that you have back home is worth your life. If you decide to stay in your property in an evacuated area, debris from the burn scar areas and storm may impede roads, and we may not be able to reach you. That is not a good scenario or situation for anybody involved. We will have increased security in all of our impacted areas. Additional deputies will continue to do their patrol checks in both of our county areas. With that, I would like to introduce the Director of Public Works, Mark Pastrella.
Good morning, Mark Pastrella, Director of Public Works, Chief Engineer of the Los Angeles County Flood Control District. Going to give a storm update and also some information regarding debris, our forecasted mud and debris flow for the next several days, Wednesday through Friday. Our storm forecast shows, as stated earlier, that we will see light rain beginning today and will continue through the night. We expect more intense rain to begin occurring tomorrow mid-morning and get the most intense portion of this rain right now forecast is in the later part of the afternoon into the evening of Thursday and through Thursday morning into Friday. As was stated earlier by Sheriff and our Board of Supervisors, this rain event, it does present a higher risk to our residents, particularly those that are living within the burn scar areas, not only Palisades and Eaton Fire area, but any burn scar area within the last year. So we have a number of those happening, almost too many to list, unfortunately, throughout the area. But we have those listed, and we are analyzing every one of the burn scars that in recent times that could be impacted what I'm about to report to you. So because of the intensity of the storm, and what you do here quite often is the rainfall intensity, meaning the intensity meaning the amount of rain over a certain period of time. So when we get to something like a half an inch per hour in any rain event at any given time, it's an indicator to us that there may be mud and debris flow. There are many other factors that go into this analysis. It also includes the topography, soils, geology of an area, the readiness of the flood control system to capture debris, and whether or not there are debris capturing devices at any individual property that could protect the property. It requires a lot of engineering, civil engineering expertise, including hydrology, geology, and soils engineering, what puts together the final recommendation or final analysis, risk analysis that I present to not only LA County Sheriff, but also to the impacted cities. So the LA County Flood Control District also serves the entire area of Los Angeles County, so we are also in full coordination with city officials, PDs, police departments in the other cities, and of course with the sheriff as they serve the city of Malibu and other cities in the county. So this process has been going on for some time, for hundreds of years, 100 years or more. At each incident that comes of rain, we make an analysis. I ask for a readiness analysis. The first readiness report is whether or not the flood control system itself is prepared. That meaning, are our reservoirs, debris basins, all 154 of them, are they clean? Do they have capacity to receive the mud and debris we expect to come off of the slopes above our homes and into these basins and into our dams? And so we are in a state of readiness with those facilities. We have the capacity for the size of storm that we expect to come into the storm, with this storm. We did that by working 24/7 for the last couple weeks, moving debris, trucking debris out of these areas and depositing in locations that we actually own and operate ourselves, or we have permission to move that material. This is not fire debris from the homes. This is debris from slopes. It has vegetation in it. It has logs, rocks, debris, sediment filled into it. That material tends to clog our system, and so what we do is we capture that in these debris basins, and then we move it off, as I said, 24/7 until we have the capacity we can get. One of the challenges is when we get back-to-back storms and we've lost capacity. Supervisor Barger mentioned that there is a specific Eaton Wash Dam that has reached a level that we are not comfortable at in this storm, or prior to this storm. We've taken action to remove 150,000 cubic yards from that basin so that it can capture this storm. But I want residents in this area to know, and it's particularly the Sierra Madre area, in the Eaton Fire area, that we will be trucking, heavy truck equipment will be coming down your streets. You should expect that in the following week post this storm, where we begin to remove this 150,000 cubic yards from an area that we're stockpiling in now, a safe place we're stockpiling right now. We have some 500,000 cubic yards we want to get out of this debris, the dam, over the next several weeks. But I've given an immediate order to run 24/7 trucking for 2 weeks, starting next Monday. So I wanted to give that heads up. Now, back to this storm event. That doesn't mean we're not ready. That dam is ready to take this storm, and we're very comfortable we're not going to lose what we call flood control of the dam. There's no issue there, no hazard to people, but I wanted to mention that it's something we're doing around the clock to prepare. So the flood control system is prepared. The next thing that we are looking at is the new debris, fire debris and ash that is contained on properties. We have set up a system in coordination with Cal OES, as was mentioned, and our partners from the federal government to capture sediment within the streets of the Eaton fire area and the Palisades area. This is unusual. We don't typically want any debris to end up in the streets. We do use the streets to drain the area, clear flow. We typically our design is not to have debris in streets during a storm event. However, there is so much debris could contribute to our street area that we set up a system temporary of sandbags, K-rails, thousands of linear miles of K-rail, hundreds of thousands of sandbags, attempting to capture debris on the properties so they don't reach the streets. And then when we know it will reach the street, we're diverting those flows, first separating sediment from them so that what will occur is you will see sediment in the street, captured sitting in the street, keeping it from getting into our waterways and into the ocean in the Palisades area. This is the other component of our mission, is to protect the environment. And that portion is just as critical as the other two, which is protecting people and property and the environment. Of course, we prioritize people. So we have advised the Sheriff's Department, as well as other PDs and cities, that we do in this incident have vulnerable structures that we do expect, if our forecasts come to fruition, that has been developed in coordination with the National Weather Service and my own experts in our house, that there are specific vulnerable structures that are at high safety risk, meaning that they could see debris run into the back of their homes. And so, as was mentioned by the sheriff, the LA County Flood Control District has been out since the beginning of this incident. Just post-fires, as soon as the fires were out, we began investigating and finding these vulnerable locations. We've contacted every vulnerable location on a list and created a list of these vulnerable locations. We contacted every resident in person or came to their house and weren't there, left a hanger for them with instructions for the instance that there is this kind of rain. Now, I say that with a high level of confidence, but I still want to mention that if anyone feels they're in a vulnerable location, and let me explain what that is. That's where your home is located below a slope, a steep slope, and it's been burned. And there is no drainage device or anything there to capture that. It basically, when it rains normally, it comes down and goes around your house. If you are living in a location where there is a slope behind your house and it is burned, we want to hear from you. We believe we found you already, but we want to still hear from you. So I want those residents to call 1-800-675-4357 so that we might come and see what the concern is and advise you for this event. This service is going to be provided right up to and to the point that we can no longer get to your properties. And that is going to happen, that probably is going to end right about today, where we're going to say, we've done everything we can, we've got the number open, and then I'm not going to send engineers into harm's way post 5 p.m. today. So I want to hear from you today as early as possible if you have concerns about your location. Again, this is reserved to places where we have had a recent burn, not just Eaton, not just Palisades, but any burn areas in the LA County area, all of LA County. We want to hear from you. We believe we've already come and seen you. We've worked great coordination with sheriff and PDs to actually notify you already. And I have to mention, this has been a great effort in coordination with community. I really appreciate the community because we have gotten a lot of phone calls from people. And we have put a lot of mitigation in place to protect you. But there is a time in these storms when the risk gets great enough that it isn't advisable to remain in the home. And so we are providing, and I've already provided across the county, the cities and the county unincorporated areas, a list of vulnerable locations that we are advising PD there may need to be an evacuation. The evacuation decision is the sheriff's decision, but again, he's been advised by me about what the situation is. And you heard his plan for that earlier. So again, if you have our mud and debris flow hotline and a call during any storm event, because the department is a full service department. Not only do we deal with flood control, we deal with sewer, water, storm drain, and streets. You can call 1-800-675-HELP. To get ready for a storm, we would like you to always go to ready.lacounty.gov, which is a wonderful location for you with lots of advice about what you can do to prepare for storms. Okay. I will take questions about this after. I'm sure the media will have questions about our analysis and what's happening. I do want to mention that I'm really proud of the citizens within the Palisades and Eaton area for achieving the fastest rate to debris removal we have had ever, and we've conducted 4 or 5 of these ourselves. LA County Public Works has been the coordinator of all 5 of these, including the Woolsey fire situation. Our department has stood up a specific unit that is versed in this process and runs super smooth. And I'm very proud of the folks that are there handling this. They're the ones that developed the ROE program. And this ROP program, I remind citizens, is the process for the ROP program is to enroll at recovery.lacounty.gov, debris removal. There are 2 programs there. There's an opt-in program, which, as I was just mentioning, we've done really well on. We've received 8,336 ROE submittals with a 98% opt-in rate. So 98% of those have opted into having the Army Corps of Engineers, in coordination with the County of Los Angeles, remove the debris from their property. We have an opt-out rate currently of 2%, or 131 property owners have opted out. This 8,336 ROEs represents over half of the total number of lots that have been damaged due to these combined fires. We think there's about 15,000 lots. Still not an exact number, but we've estimated it at 15,000 lots that are viable and need to be cleaned in LA County. That means we're a little bit more than halfway there. I need to get all the way there so we can provide this benefit to you and we can get these off to the Corps so they get cleaning your property. So please Go to the website. Make the decision to opt in or opt out. I again will say, I've looked at this as a professional engineer, as a person who's had through this experience many, many times. I'm recommending to anyone who's eligible to opt into this program. We will get your property clear of this fire debris and ash. It will prepare the property in the fastest way I know to get you to rebuild. And so please go there. The deadline for this is March 31st. And if you need hands-on help or walking through this, please call 1-844-347-3332. Colonel Swenson is here. He can answer questions also for the media about their portion of the debris removal. I'd just like to mention, and it's important to know that we're open for business in terms of LA County unincorporated areas for rebuilding. That means we're ready to accept your building permits now. Supervisors Barger and Horvath have mentioned the one-stop that we have set up. I've done this in coordination with our Department of Regional Planning, Fire, and Health Department. There are great partners in the rebuilding permit process. The Calabasas one-stop for the Palisades fire area is in unincorporated residence is located at 26600 West Agora Road, number 110, Calabasas, California. And the one-stop center for rebuilding, as was mentioned earlier, in Altadena is at the Altadena Local Assistance Center at 540 West Woodbury Road. We can issue permits from the DRC there. That you can come in right now, get simple, and actually get started with submittals for permits of all kinds. I do need to mention that and I have to go back just for a second, on the opt-out program, I know I'm stepping back, this is debris removal. On the opt-out program, there have been a lot of questions about how you can remove property from your property on your own with private contractors. We are developing that program as a single permit program to cover the whole county, including city areas. Proud of that. And you can go there and get information about that again at recovery.lacounty.gov. On Thursday of this week, the permits will be ready to be issued to qualifying applicants on private property. Those permits will be pulled at our county-wide enterprise permitting system called EPIC LA. For more information about that, again, go to recovery.lacounty.gov. I'm going to leave it there, and I think that's the end of our...
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
we'll now transition to question and answers. We're going to go right here in the front first, and we'll make our way around the room. Name and media outlet, please.
Good morning. Craig Figner with KNX News. I think this question's for Supervisor Barger, perhaps. You had talked about, or at least somebody did talk about debris perhaps pooling up in the streets in the Eaton fire zone, and that maybe that was kind of by designed to keep some of the toxic debris and runoff from the fire from, making it to the ocean, into the water supply. Can you tell me a little bit more about that so that people understand it, aren't alarmed by what they might see?
Yes, thank you. In fact, you prompted me something I should have mentioned is during this incident, a rain incident, and of course we're stood up already for this, we expect an extraordinary amount of debris in certain portions of the streets. And how we deal with that is we have K-rail up, that when the debris moves, we keep it in the street. So if you live in a street where you see the K-rail, I know it can be annoying, you see it and it can actually cause you a little difficulty to get through the street. That's there purposely because we are forecasting that there could be debris running down your street. And what the design of that is, what you were mentioning, sir, is we design that so it stays in the street, but of course that's going to restrict your access. Now, LA County Road Department is going to put up barricades saying, restricted access prior to this incident. We'll be putting those out today. But throughout the area, you're going to see K-rail, and that, again, is to capture debris and to keep it in the street and make the flows get on the street. And then we filter that off with sandbagging and that before it gets into catch basins and into the channels. This does twofold thing. It protects people from debris and mud flow at their houses, but it also is capturing pollutants that are leaving those lots. And we intend to, as we capture that, properly dispose of it. We are high confidence, though. I've gone around and looked at a number of lots, and they're pretty well sandbagged up and kept pretty tight. So like in the last event, we didn't see that much material come off of the properties. But in absolute caution, we have that backup system that you mentioned that will be essentially the sediment trap and pollution trap within the streets.
Right here.
Hi. Tony Briscoe with the LA Times. From my understanding, for almost every wildfire in California in recent memory, the Army Corps has ordered soil sampling to confirm that its cleanup meets state standards and that there's no longer any lingering contamination. This was done in the Camp Fire, this was done in Lahaina, and also in the Mountain Fire in neighboring Ventura County. I'm wondering if this soil sampling is also being done for the Eden and Palisades Fire, and if not, why not?
Good morning. Colonel Eric Swenson, Army Corps of Engineers. So for these two fire-impacted areas in the Corps' private property debris removal program, we are not conducting soil sampling. What we are doing is we're removing 6 inches of topsoil that's within the ash footprint. So where the house would have settled down, the property would have settled down on the ground, 6 inches of soil, which we believe will capture, we're confident will capture any of the surface hazards that landed on the soil. And then we're gonna, if the owner opts in, we're gonna remove the foundation. And I highly encourage anyone who's sitting on the fence regarding their foundation, I could probably give you 6 reasons off the top of my head for why you should have us remove your foundation. That will ensure that all of that material, the fire ash and debris that landed on the foundation, is also properly secured and transported to an appropriate and permitted landfill within the greater Los Angeles County area.
Do you have a follow-up? And then we'll go over here.
So in response to the Camp Fire, there, after 6 inches of soil was removed, there were still thousands of homes that contained contamination in excess of California state standards. How are homeowners in these burn areas supposed to feel safe that there won't be excessive contamination? And will the Army Corps be returning to these sites to remove more soil if soil testing is conducted?
Yeah, thank you for the question and the follow-up. As I said, for this incident, we're not conducting soil sampling, and the Army Corps will, once we demobilize from a site, in the sort of 2 to 4 days that it takes us to do a standard lot, we will not be remobilizing to that site. With the only exception being if for some reason we missed eligible debris and did not do the job we said we would do, then we would come back. But we do a final inspection to make sure we have all of the eligible debris. And the purpose of us here is to remove the public health and safety hazard. So that is our purpose, and we're not going to leave anything behind. And homeowners that sign up for our program, have our guarantee that we're going to get rid of the eligible debris and the public health and safety risks that brought us to this community. Thank you.
We'll go in the front, right over here.
Hi, Grace Toohey with the Los Angeles Times. It sounds like more evacuation alerts are expected today and tomorrow. After the many issues that we saw during the fire, how has OEM prepared for these evacuation alerts? Are you guys ready for these to be going out? Can residents trust them? And then I know we still have 2 reviews going on, an internal and external review about the evacuation alerts. Will both of these be made public, and when?
Thank you. Kevin McGowan, Director with the County's Office of Emergency Management. I'm going to try and take each one of those questions in layers, so if I forget one, please remind me. So as it relates to evacuation orders, once evacuation warnings or orders, once those are determined, we use a variety of different notification tools. Those don't only include wide area mass notifications. In particular, for this event, a lot of the notifications are being done very surgically with in-person notifications. If wide, large areas are going to be noticed, that's when we really utilize mass notification tools. We've been going through a mass notification process ever since the countywide alert went out, and we've worked with the contractor to resolve all of those problems. And so during that period of time, we were using the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services to assist us in issuing those alerts. In addition to the wireless emergency alert, though, we have an opt-in program. During the entire wildfire event, we were using our opt-in program successfully, and then it was being bolstered with the wireless alerts from the state. The wireless alert issue was resolved with the partnership with FEMA IPAWS, the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, along with our self-service providers. I can't guarantee that other organizations' infrastructure, like our self-service providers, have completely corrected their issues. That's their responsibility. The responsibility we have with our system has been corrected. And then on the last part about the reviews, we've brought in our contractor. We're working with the contractor to do the third-party after-action review as directed by the Board of Supervisors. The first report is due in 90 days, and we're well on the road to having that already actioned. So more to come on what the results of that after-action process, but we are meeting the requirements that were presented by the board directive on the after-action review.
Can I add something to that? And he mentioned the fact that the providers are a key part, and that is why I'm very grateful to Congressman Garcia, Congressman Whiteside, and our delegation that have asked for an investigation at the federal level, because the oversight of all the AT&T, Verizon, et cetera, are at the federal level. So it's important that we find out at that level what lessons learned and what needs to be fixed.
Thank you, Supervisor. We'll go at the back.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Coco McAvoy from Fox 11 News. Thanks for taking my question. Continuing on the theme of the evacuation warnings, are there any specifics of the communities that might receive these warnings mid-morning or into today? Is it just those burn fire areas, or could we see impacts outside of those burn scars with the storm?
I'll start off by saying anything's possible, but as we are working in unified command, Public Works, Fire Department, working in partnership to identify what we believe the weather forecast is predicting. And it's a prediction. So I could tell you that in the last 24 hours, both of our stations, Altadena, Malibu Lost Hills, has gone out personally to notify the homes that Public Works has told us may be in jeopardy based on the weather. But it's a forecast. So we are going to remain flexible, and that's why I'm going to repeat that even though we've notified you, when we start putting out information about warnings to orders, please pay attention. But they are very specific right now to those areas that Public Works has told us are in that zone that can be in danger. We're being very surgical about it, as opposed to large areas that we don't believe at this point need to be evacuated, but we are constantly evaluating and reevaluating that as the weather forecast changes.
And I would like to add just one more thing. It's related to what the sheriff was saying, but it also dovetails back to the original question about notifications. I think it's important for everyone to go to alertla.org to register for our opt-in notification systems. Those can be much more targeted, right? We can get down to an individual address level if you sign up for that notification system. What's also important for everyone in the public to know is LA County OEM and LA County as a government organization aren't the only emergency notification system within our county. And within the burn scar areas, we have multiple city jurisdictions that also have their own alert and warning system that are the primary alert and warning authority for their jurisdiction. So, for example, the city of Pasadena, residents of the city of Pasadena, Sierra Madre, I can go through the whole list, they all have their own emergency notification systems, and I encourage every resident of those locations to sign up. You can go to alertla.org and get access to all of our local jurisdictions that have an alert and warning system, and they should be expecting to get notifications through their local police department, fire department, or city jurisdiction. Thanks.
Any other final questions? If not, we'll proceed to...
So I just, I want to get back to the question from the LA Times about assessments of soil. And I want to note that at publichealth.lacounty.gov, we have a website that actually lists the assessment plan for both air, water, and soil. That's an ongoing plan. This is a living document as we get more partners on assessing air quality, soil quality, and water. We post both what the plan is, and once results come in, we'll be linking to the results. We'll also, within the next few weeks, have a dashboard where all residents can go to get this information in real time. And while this is not an assessment plan that's based on going to every individual house, there's both an assessment that will be ongoing now to find out what's in the ash, soot, and fire debris. And there'll be a sampling strategy for after debris is removed, particularly in public spaces, to take a look at what's left. So I don't want to leave this as like there are no activities that are happening on the assessment side. They are. They're just not necessarily linked to every individual house, but it's more a countywide plan.
Thank you, Dr. Ferrer. That marks the end of our press conference today. One-on-one interviews are available. Please approach the dais and we'll connect you to the speaker. Also, interviews in Spanish are available. If you're interested in speaking with spokespersons that speak Spanish, please gather to the right side. Thank you.